Welcome back to Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an M44, the Tier 6 American SPG, and this one's located on the southboard of Cliff under the command of Bill Laggin. Now, the M44, it's probably one of those popular arties in the game. It's got a 155mm gun and it's mounted on a Walker Bulldog chassis, which means it's relatively fast. But best of all, it's got a swing pivot mount for the gun inside that hull, which means that it's got a very wide field of fire, and I think the reload time is also one of the best features. That means it can fire once every 16 seconds if you're using a rammer and premium consumables, and once every 15 seconds if you've got the enhanced rammer. Okay, so he's taken up a position in the bushes and he's aiming towards the hill, which is something I do virtually every game on this in the M44 on Cliff. Well, not from that same position, of course. I do hide in different spots every time because I don't want them to think I'm going to go to the same spot. Okay, we've got a T-52 coming up to that junction. Rounds out. Oh, he backs away. He anticipated and saw the T-52 on the other side, and they decided to have a fight, and obviously that meant that he stopped behind the rock. But Bill Laggins is loaded, fires a round in. Oh, and it hits the rock face. That was RNG. The shell went to one side, which means the T-52 from the enemy team has made it on top of the hill. But how long he stays there, well, that's a matter for some debate, because it's more than likely he's going to get taken out. The moment he spots over, there he's over the other side. You can see some damage being done to the fences over the other side of the cliff, next to the lighthouse. And Bill Laggin just got a bit of reticule plume there. Instead, he's decided to go after this Cromwell, which is just coming up the rise to the hill. Round out. Perfect hit. 198 hit points. Hit the top of his tank. Stunned him, and he's pulling back. Now, this artillery piece, this howitzer, will do 550 alpha if it can penetrate the armor, but its penetration is only 38mm. So it will penetrate some tanks at tier 6, but it might have difficulty with tier 7 and tier 8, and this is a tier 7 battle, I'm afraid. Aiming for a poodle at the back, and it hits the rock face. Actually, the penetration is 39mm. I shortchanged it 1mm on the armor. Okay, Poodle keeps pulling back behind that rock, but it's not going to protect him from arty rounds forever. And that one landed just in front of him. He was lucky that he wasn't behind the rock directly, because he would have suffered. Okay, we've got a T-71 and an SU-100 M1 over on the other side. Going for the M1 first. On his side. Direct hit right into the side. 382 hit points. He's immediately killed afterwards, which means that we pick up the stun assist off that one. Going for the T-71 CMCD. That's the one with the magazine, I believe. Round out on him. Lands next door to him. And splashes him for 159. He's still in that dip. He dare not move out because there's an E25 nearby, and that E25 is facing off against the Hellcat. Round out on the T-71 again, and this time a hit. And it looks like he hit the turret. Yeah, I'm looking for the yellow mark where it actually hit. Couldn't see it directly, but I do know that it looked as if it hit the turret. We're loaded. Rounds out again. This looks good. Splashes in for 170. Now, just the other day, Sircon was having a rant about Arty again, and he was saying, oh, the M44 is way overpowered because it can kill any opposition tank within 2 shots because it's so OP and can do 550 alpha. Well, it doesn't penetrate every shot. That's the thing, and that's what Bill Laggin's showing here. It doesn't. But if you're a good Arty player, you can get the maximum damage. And look at that, he took out the T-52 up on top of the hill, 264 hit points. Shell went right into the side of the vehicle, penetrated through the armor. So we lost the E25 that was on the east side next to the cliff edge, but we took out that T52, and now it's being occupied by our T52. Okay, our ARL 44 is moving up towards the back of the lighthouse cliff, or the mountain. Oh my god, that was a blind kill of a KV2! It had been seen in that corner, but he fired around it, and it was there. He was still there and took him out. So he must have splashed him to death. Going for an IS this time. Rounds out. And that must have been nearby. Amazing shot on the KV2. And we've got an OI behind that house. We're loaded. Rounds out. It just goes a little long. Explodes next to the OI. He's got rid of the stun, but he's very low on hit points now. I think he took a big hit from one of our players. So going for the IS again. Dialing in. Rounds out. Looks good. Splashes him for 93. The shell went long and slightly to one side, away from the aim point. And again, that's another thing that Circon didn't take into account. Oh, there's a tracer. We know where that Arty is. Rounds out. This should be good. Direct hit on the aim point, but no kill. So it may be the Arty moved immediately after firing. And we've lost the top of the hill to the Cromwell. He actually, I think actually it was the SU-100 M1 who killed our T-52 on top of the hill. Going for the Cromwell. Rounds out. Direct hit into his engine bay. 224. He's stunned. It must have damaged his engine. Must have. So he's probably got no repair kit now. Round goes in and it kills him. It hit the engine bay. It was a perfect shot. It went straight to the aim point. There's the SU-100 M1, the one that killed our T-52 on top of the lighthouse. Rounds out. Direct hit. 514 hit points off that one. So definitely penetrating. I think it hit the weak armor at the back. You can tell from how long the flight of the shell is. It's about 4 seconds from the moment we fire it until it hits the target. And that one didn't even penetrate, but it did stun the SU-100 M1. Didn't do any damage when you fire. And that's another thing that non-Arty players cannot get to grips with. We sometimes fire at the target and the shell bounces off and it doesn't do any damage to them whatsoever. We're firing E25. It goes long, lands behind him. Our KV2's moving up to the E25. If we can help that E25 now. Oh, well, we don't need to help the KV2. He did the job. But where is that SU-100 M1? We fired a blind round in. Lands behind the rock. Oh, he came down the cliff. He's actually come down and he's sitting by the edge of the hill. Going to be a few more seconds before we can shoot, but this is the last enemy alive. And he's been wiped out by the KV2. He derped him. So that's game. So 3 kills for Bill Laggin. And this is probably one of the reasons why he loves the M44. Just look at this. He's got an ace tanker in the M44. He picked up a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 16. A Gore's medal for doing 10 times the hit points of his own vehicle in damage. A High Caliber for dealing the most damage in that battle. And a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And the win rate for that game was 6,913. So Super Unicum standard and some. Let's have a look at the team scores. There you go. Look at that. Top of the table, 2,720 hit points of damage. He really was working that gun as hard as he can. And that's the reason why M44 players are so successful. They use their gun as much as they can to hit as many targets as they can in as short a time as possible to help their team win. The next high scorer after him was the KV2 with that derp 152mm howitzer. He got 1,584 hit points, and after that came that SU-100 M1, 1,418 to him. So he was putting up a good defense, and he also got 2 kills. When it comes to kills, it was definitely Bill lagging again. He got 3 kills. There was a whole bunch of tanks that got 2 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, well, he's got the top in all 3 columns again, because he managed to get 1,228 experience points out of that one. And the next high scorer was the KV2 with 776, and then the Cromwell, who managed 752, and he also picked up a Leather Slayer's medal. The T52 managed to get a Confederate, and the SU-100 M1 got a cool headed out of that game. So let's have a look at detail for Bill Laggins. 21 shots fired, 8 direct hits, 7 penetrations. He really did well with that 155mm. He got good shots on targets which have weak armor, and it really paid off. He also got 10 splash shots as well. Damage of 2,720 hit points, and all of it was at more than 300 meters. He damaged 9 of the enemy, that's 3/5 the enemy team, and killed 3 of the enemy, 1/5 the enemy team. And he also did stun assistance of 777 hit points on 15 stuns. On the credit side, he earned 53,447 credits, and after ammunition resupply and consumables, because he was using the premium Coca-Cola, he actually ended up with 22,842 credits. He received 5 bonds for getting the awards, the Gore's medal, the High Caliber, and the Confederate, and he also earned 1,842 XP, no multipliers, so that's all he took away in experience points. But he said, this is why I love this little artillery. Well, I certainly agree with you. It is my favourite artillery as well. I love the M44. I often heard when I was starting this game how wonderful the M44 was from many and many other players. And it's only when I really got to experience it for myself, I realised that this Arty is a little treasure, because it is vulnerable. It can be vulnerable at times, but it is tremendous at putting out the damage on the enemy. And if you've got an M44, that's the reason sometimes that you win the game, because you are the principal reason your team won, because you were doing so much damage to the enemy tanks and enabling them to kill off your opponents as quickly as possible. So congratulations to Bill Lagging. Good round. Ace Tanker, Gore's, High Caliber Confederate. You've proved that you can do it, and you've done it lovely. If you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.